to be alive.
I'll just have a cup of coffee, then I'll go. Thought that
We're just going to skip the intro altogether, aren't we? A little bit of a glitch there. Okay, so to the Grand Columbia channel, welcome back to Coffee Time Live on this beautiful Sunday. Overcast, been pretty rainy every afternoon, pretty consistent around 3:30 for half an hour to an hour. But very nice. My notes. The last minute I got distracted by something that came up, and then it's like, oh crap, it's time. And I can see I'm broadcasting. I assume there's some noise going out the microphone. Let's see, Rob. Good morning, Rob. Bill, good morning. Coleman from Kyiv, Ukraine. I'm just not buying it anymore. Dennis, hello. Bill, hello from LA. Sorry about that. I mean the LA part. Greetings from Helsinki. Welcome back. William, we'll see you next month. Good morning. Doc, good morning. Total bien. Okay, awesome. That's good to know. I've even got green lights going on. Great. Okay, I got a few things today I think kind of interesting, and then as always we'll go to the Q&A. So probably got about 15 minutes or so here, unless I get caught down the rabbit hole again. Ocean Spray Cranberry. Okay, I want to mention to those that are interested. I had a few requests, not a lot, but a few requests. Is there any way you can put this into podcast? So for the last few coffee times, I've converted them afterwards into the podcast. If you don't know where the podcast is, just go to my website and you'll see podcasts on every page over on the side. And it goes out on, I think, 8 or 9 different podcast platforms. So if you use podcasts, whatever you use, it goes out there. Well, bit of news, timely news. Let me, oh, I didn't show you outside yet, did I? There's outside. Okay, so this is my interview screen actually, but I'm going to use it for this next little thing here. Let me get rid of my good morning. Yes, all is well. I'll talk about that a little bit too. And the news. So Colombia is taking in, over the next couple days, 4,000 Afghanis. The whole article, you can find it on the Candio News website. It was almost a read between the lines article. I know the president here is getting a lot of flack. They've taken in over 2 million Venezuelans over the last handful of years, more than any country on the planet. And it's been tough. It's been an adjustment. And there's people that are upset that they're volunteering to take in 4,000. Apparently what the U.S. has done over this debacle is there's so many that are going to be coming, because they're not sorting them out there because of what they've created. So they're just throwing everybody on the airplane, no matter who they are, what their background is, and they're shoveling them off to different countries willing to take them in. And I think there's been about 100 countries thinking on a humanitarian basis that volunteered to do it. And Colombia said that they would take some in. So they said there's 4,000, at least initially, coming in over the next couple days. And then the U.S. is promising that they'll process their paperwork and sort out who should they stay or should they go. And who knows? I mean, there's not a whole lot of credibility happening, but I thought you might be interested in that since it's all the news. So let me, this is kind of cool. I got the outside camera set up for a guest, but I could put the outside camera there. So maybe I'll do that, but I got some other things to go over before that, and I'm going to need the other screen. All right, I want to update you on my house apartment search. For those that don't know, my apartment that I actually really love, I've been amazingly happy here. I've talked about it a number of times, and people that come and visit, I'm sure they're sick and tired of hearing me about how happy I am. The vibes, air conditioning, pick a reason. I just love it here. Now, is it perfect? No, there's a few things. My studio is a little cramped. It's a bit of a struggle sometimes. And, I don't like the color of the finishing, the wood, and it could use a few more cabinets, but I just love it here. I could care less about all that other stuff. But I'm in Helsinki, 2,000 Afghans. Interesting. Thanks for mentioning that. Right there. But here's the reason I want to talk about it again today. And I've actually got a few places I'm going to be looking at this coming week. Got to quit saying starting to sound like that press secretary. I was curious as to why he's selling. Now, he has to sell before I sign a contract. Then he can't sell for another year. That's just how it is here. So I'm wondering, I've been a great tenant. Every month I pay 3 weeks ahead. Why would he jeopardize that when he doesn't actually have someone buying yet? Well, I found out there's some rumors going around. And the rumors going around is that here in Armenia, there's been several people that have way overpaid for properties. Don't know if that's true or not, but that's the rumor that's going around. He got wind of that, and he decided, I got this from two different sources, actually. One of them was a guard here in this building who had actually talked to him about it. And another was a real estate person that I was talking to because I'm looking. So I'm actually, everybody that I know, I'm putting feelers out. I technically could be here for another month and a half by law, but once your mind is somewhere else, it's like I just want to get it over with, so I'm going to search and move as quick as I can. So what he's thinking, or the market value of this place has been, and comparables in this building have sold in the last year or so for about $55,000. I think I've mentioned that to you before. He's decided that he can get $75,000 out of it. There's no comparables to say that, but that's the gamble that he's taking. He thinks that's going to happen. And who knows? Maybe it'll happen. Maybe I've talked this place up so much, somebody will come in and, say, 75,000, that's nothing. Well, okay. But it's not the market. But it's creating some other issues. Because as I'm out looking, I'm noticing that all of a sudden rents are escalating. I've talked to about 20 people about properties and, to set things up, and done a little preliminary conversation. And what I've noticed is places that would go, for example, 1.2 million a month to rent may now very well be 1.5 or 1.6. But that increase isn't like an inflationary increase that that you go and that's just what the cost is because of everything else. This is a speculation increase. And I've also found that most of them are actually more than willing to go closer to what the value should be. It's kind of throwing it out there and see if somebody else will come along and they can be one of the ones that hit the lottery, apparently, something like that. So it's a little, I don't know, frustrating, because there's a couple places that I could afford, and it's like, well, that'd be a great option. I'd like to live there, and I know that neighborhood. It's one of my top three. And then come to find out that it gets priced just out of my reach. And in one of the cases, a stunning place in the Castellania area, huge, 120 square meters. That's big, and has a studio. It has an actual studio. So I wanted it, but he's priced it, and right now it just went on the market, and so he wants to hold out, and so it's just out of my range. I can't really afford it. And yeah, the exchange rate right now is kind of up there, and I could afford it right now, but as soon as that rate goes back down, it's like, man, I'm going to be jammed out. So you can't do that. You have to keep that in mind. Think worst case on exchange rates when you're figuring out what your budget's going to be, because you don't want to, back yourself into a corner. So I guess that's what's going on with the housing thing. I should have a lot more information this coming week. It's the stressful last week is carrying to this week. The money issue. My card never did show up. And here's, somebody said, well, why don't you just get another one? Well, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Here's the thing. For whatever reason, I figured that the card would be a couple weeks to get here, even though it was initially sent by FedEx. I just figured worst case, although I get stuff from the U.S. pretty regularly within 5 days. But I figure worst case, because once in a while that'll happen. So we get to the point where, all right, this card is really late. It should have been here by now. I'm going into third or fourth week or whatever. So why don't I just call the bank? Because here's the reason. As soon as I call the bank, they're going to cancel that card. And what if that card shows up tomorrow? Now I got to wait another 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever God knows it's going to be. And so I'm walking this tightrope, and I don't know what to do about it. And it's bad because, well, my Netflix account is canceled because I had no card to pay online. I can't access my money. And you're going to say, well, I thought you had backups. Yes. What I didn't know, and you'll benefit from this probably when the dust clears in a few weeks. What I didn't know is a lot of transfer laws have changed recently. And it's like pulling teeth. Now, I'm going to tell you my Remitly story because somebody last week, use Remitly. They're awesome. They're awesome. Okay. So I go in and I sign up for Remitly. And they say, well, we need a photograph of your passport. Okay, well, no, that wasn't good enough. Okay, 5 or 6 tries. Finally, it's good enough. All right, got the passport. Now we need a selfie. Put your head in this oval and, closer, closer, closer. Oh, it's bad. Do it again. Closer, closer. And this was actually script on the thing. Closer, closer. Oh, it's bad. Do it again. Finally, I just put it where I thought it should be and didn't move, and it actually went through. So that was, I don't know, that was more than the passport. So I have to do something. So out of desperation, I continue with this thing, and it took forever to go through that. All right, so I get that done. Now I got to connect my bank. And yes, with Remitly, you can connect your bank. So I connect my bank. Well, that takes They said 48 hours. I think it was like 36 or something, but it takes a while. You connect your bank, and they got to do the thing to make sure that you actually have legal access. So I go through that. So I've done all of this stuff to prove who I am and where I am and what I'm doing, and it's my money. So then, all right, now I'm going to send me money. Well, the first thing that pops up is, instead of instantly like World Remit, it says, like, if I did it today, I would get it next Wednesday. So there's like a 3 to 5 day lag. Okay, well, that's better than nothing. At least I know it's coming. So I do a test of $500. So it's not a huge amount. So I run that through. Right now, I'm in desperate need of about 8 million pesos, because things have piled up over last month. My visa, I have to pay it before the end of next week or I'm screwed. So I've got to pay for my visa. That's 1.5 million. I'm in the process of trying to move. There's expenses. There's a rent. There's probably going to be a half-month rental deposit. So you got all this stuff. I got the money. It's in my bank. Can't access it. But I need to, that's what I need to do. So I figure, okay, I'll do the 500, and then I can do maybe another $700 after that. So I put it through. It says, great, we've taken the money, we've put it through. You're going to receive it on, they give me no later than this hour on this day. About 30 minutes to an hour later, I get an email telling me your transaction was canceled due to suspicious activity. What the hell? What did I just went through all of this stuff to prove everything out. Because their system sucks. I had to do it over and over and over and over again. And then they decide that it's no good. So I wrote them a nasty gram, but I decided I'm going to try once more. So after a couple days, I did it. Exact same thing happened again. What on earth could possibly be suspicious activity? What was the point of going through all that stuff? Now, I'm sure they're not in business to just turn people away and return the money that they're going to charge. So I can't really dump it all in their lap. But what I have learned over the last few weeks is a lot of rules and regulations about transferring money have changed. And there's massive penalties, tons of responsibility placed on outfits like World Remitly, and even the banks. Even to get my card, I had to jump through a lot of hoops and a lot of ID exchanges and things like that in order for them to say, okay, we will verify that it's you and send me a card. And that wasn't even because I'm here in Colombia. That's just their procedure now. So when I get this sorted out, I'll fill you in on what's going on, and I will create a new type of backup, for the next time something happens. Fortunately, it's been, I think 3 years since I've had any issues, so that's been pretty good. But, so anyway, do I have a Bank of Colombia? No, I wouldn't. They're thieves. I won't. I'll get past this. But if I had Bank of Colombia, I'm saddled with them, and there's no way. Anyway, I want to give you an update on Alejandra, my pizza girl. I'll get to all these things here in a little bit. I'll go through. There's a lot of messages that jumped up, and you keep putting them there. But I'll go to the top and I'll start running down them. But I want to get over just a couple more things. Alejandra. Rather than tell you about what's happening, let me show you where she's at.
It's like a family tree. Part of you and part of me. And if we should separate, go your own way, I won't wait.
Buenas, buenas. Hoy amanecimos rica, sabrosa, deliciosa, porque puedo, yo puedo.
So there's your update. This is pretty cool. I got a couple pizzas from her a few days back, and oh man, they were good. They were really good. I had one some time ago, but I think it had sat for quite a while because of me, actually. She made it up, and then I told her, well, I won't be home until such and such, and then she brought it over. But I went and I got two. I had her put them in one box, save her a box. Two different kinds. I got the Mexican and I got the vegetarian, but I had her put chicken on it. So it was 20,000 pesos for both. And I had 2 meals out of it with an extra piece for a snack later. So it was pretty filling, but it was awesome, especially the Mexican pizza. Oh man, it was delicious. Not as good as my thick one that I did, which I'm going to be making tonight for a friend, but it was better than 95% of the pizzas around here. It was very good. Also, her first week there, which was a partial week, and there's been some rain, but her first week, she sold 17. Now, that kind of sucks, but it's her first week, and she knew that it was going to take a few weeks, 2, 3, 4 weeks, before you start building things up. But if people stop and taste it, I think word will get out pretty quick. Plus her location. I mean, she's like a half a block from Bolivar, right at Mocawa, and half a block from Provenza, where I used to live. I mean, it's a great location, lots of traffic, money in the area. So, I wish her well. And it's got to be tough. It's got to be tough to be sweating that out. And I know she had some help, and she's been working everything she could. I mean, she's been working, several jobs on the side, try to keep everything going, keep her, expenses paid. And, I've been there. I've done that. I've done some businesses in the past, and, you pay everything and your employees and everything else, and then you go without for a while. So, but, the payoff is good too. All right, so let's see. I covered Remitly, talked about the pizza, did the house. Okay, the last thing, and then I'll get to this list here. You guys are probably aware that while I share an awful lot on these videos, probably more than, when I get done with a video or I get done with a live, I go, why did I talk about that? I'm actually kind of a private person. However, there is a private side of my life that I certainly don't share in videos. The closest I did was the one that's behind a paywall for the dating thing. Talked about some things a little more personal. Now, in real life, people that come here and meet me, I have this bad habit of whatever anybody asks me, I'm going to give them an answer. I mean, I will respond. I don't say, no, I just have this thing where, I don't know, I can't hold back, So, I've shared some private things, but essentially my private life, I try to keep private. And since I've been in South America, which, 6 years or so now, I know a lot of you guys think because I've always got these pretty girls around and that, it's like there are all these girlfriends and your mind's going crazy. Well, I'm here to tell you that in those 6 years, I have not had what you would consider a girlfriend. just haven't had it. For my own reasons, the drama, the complications, language maybe. I'm really busy most of the time, and when I'm not busy, I've been kind of sick. The medicine and different things. I mean, it takes a toll. Even the expense of having a girlfriend. It's not like you got to pay her, but if you got a wife or a girlfriend, it's going to cost you. You can't be a jerk. So, I don't really have a lot of extra income. And what I get extra, it usually gets sunk into, into this conglomeration with this visions of the future of things that I want to do. Some that I haven't even, shared with you yet. So that's the thing. And I don't ever really talk about that sort of thing. You say, oh, it's like hot chick. You always got hot chicks. And I just say, no, it's just a friend. Because guess what? They're just friends. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. Over the last couple years, I've had a couple friends that, we do a little adult things once in a while, but my life isn't really been like that. However, I will tell you that I now have my first pareja. So we'll see how it works out. But I haven't said anything about this even to a couple close friends until I decided that that's where I'm going to go with this. So until yesterday, nobody had even met her. Here, my friends, local friends, Natalie, Alejandra, for example, they were here yesterday and met her. So I don't know how much of that I'll share, but the reason I'm even bringing it out is most likely you're going to be seeing me with her on a pretty regular basis, and you're going to want to know, and it won't be like, no, just a friend and da 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 da, and deflect, because no, it's not real. But that in this case, yeah, that's my girlfriend. So watch what you're saying. Okay. Let's dispense with that. Let's get to some questions. What do you think? Should I go to that screen? Is that one okay, or should I do the normal one? All right. So we'll go down through the list here. We've got 25,000 to Canada. 25,000 Afghans are going to Canada. Okay. Lauren, aren't there any apartments in the same complex you might be able to get? No, there's one apartment available, and it's smaller. It's also on the other side where I'll see the back side of the mall. That would be which means it's on the other side of the river, which is one of the huge things that I love here. I have trouble sleeping at night, and that river, that sound at night, I sleep as much as I want, which 5 or 6 hours a lot of nights instead of the 3 or 4 that it would normally be. I love having that. And you say, well, you can run a fan. I don't know, that doesn't work for me, but this river does. Running water works. So yeah, that one, no, I wouldn't be happy there. I believe me, I ask. I don't think the Taliban would plant any of their followers in the mix. No, not at all. And those ISIS and Al Qaeda that were released from the prison, that the prison was simply abandoned. No, I'm sure they're not. I'm sure they weren't hanging off an airplane. Are there hard to get or expensive items in Colombia that one should bring from the U.S.? That's a great question, and all I can tell you is once you're here, you kind of get the lay of the land and you know how to access certain things. There's nothing I can't get my hands on, and the prices are all reasonable. Sometimes it might be a little more, but I'm not paying a big shipping thing. I can pretty much get everything within the bounds of Colombia. Occasionally, I bought a few things like this Stream Deck controller. I bought it from the US because I compared, it's so light, the shipping wasn't very expensive. And here in Colombia, for whatever reason, the price, they're available, but the price was way out of whack. It's usually not like that. So once you figure it out, there's nothing I've wanted that I couldn't find. Total opposite of Ecuador, where half of the things that I wish I had, you can't get, or you're going to pay through the nose. And eventually, I did an entire video on the compromise. Be prepared. If you're going to live here, be prepared for these compromises. Well, you don't necessarily have to have cheddar cheese to have a good life. But damn, especially if you're a retiree, you get to a certain age, there's things that you like, you get enjoyment. It's part of life is maybe a good wine and a piece of cheese. I mean, it doesn't have to be food or drink. There's maybe you have a hobby and you want to every so often buy such and such. Well, in Ecuador, it's like, okay, forget that hobby, find a new one. No, forget that, snack, forget that wine, find alternatives. Yeah, it kind of gets frustrating, kind of sucks. And here, whatever it is, I can get it. So honestly, I wouldn't worry about it. Even cell phones are reasonable here. So now that's assuming that you learn the lay of the land, you know where to buy things, you know what prices they should be, and you work it from that direction. Or you just come in, you don't know crap, and you just buy the first thing, and it's way overpriced, but you don't know any better, and you don't even have a sense of the money yet. That's a danger when you first get here. One of the things that I do when people come here to Armenia and they're trying to get settled in is I talk about these things. And plus, if they're moving here, it's like I'm a what's up away. If hey, I want to buy such and such, where's the best place to get it, or what price should I be looking at, or if I don't know, I'll look on where I get things, and so a little plus. All right, what do we have here? Great, artificially inflating the market. Oh, this was back on the rental thing. Much like Californians going to Texas, it's exactly like that. That's exactly what's going on. Somebody said, "Oh, it's COVID." Somebody here says, I'm so tired of hearing everything's about COVID. Yeah, COVID's real. The virus is real, but damn, it's so's the cold. So are bunions. Okay. Trying it on as it were. Okay. He's been watching your show and knows about all the rich Americans you bring it in. Yeah, that's it. No, it's not him. It was a rumor that he picked up on. Actually, rumors like that spread like wildfire. And it isn't just Americans. As I told you, most of these places are purchased by Colombians in Bogota, and most of them are for either speculation or for retirement. And that's where a lot of the rentals come from, because they're living in Bogota, but they bought a place and rather have it sit empty. Why not collect, the money that you put into it while you're waiting for the 8 years before you retire? So there's that. Could it be related to international trends such as in the U.S. bubble prices, real estate? I think it. I actually think that rumor is. I think the cause is the rumor. I don't know how true or not true that rumor is, but the fact that the rumor is there and a number of people have heard that rumor, that's enough for, some people to speculate. Like I said, it's like there's this one place that is normally 1.3 million. And that's at the very edge of my budget. And even then, it becomes kind of sacrificial. You have to be, I have to be really careful around that. I get over $300 and I'm really getting into some, I'm putting myself at risk over $300. So I know you're laughing. $300? Are you kidding me? Well, that's my life. I'm poor. Get over it. Yeah, I wish I had more to throw around, but that's just how it is. But you live within your budget. So it was typically 1.3, and right now it's 1.6, and he doesn't want to budge from that. And I was actually considering it because there's some advantages there that I think would be worthwhile. And as people keep coming down, like in September, there's 2 people coming down that are going to take up some days. And it would be, there's some things there that would be useful to people coming here to visit. Plus, in one case, I would actually be able to do the room more than the 3. Right now, it's like, no, 3 days is a limit. But this one, the place is laid out in such a way that I could let somebody be there and it wouldn't be intruding on my life. And that would be a real advantageous thing for everybody involved. So I'm looking for the next property with you guys in mind that are, going to be coming down here. And that's going to, that makes it a little more expensive. But then again, it's, anyway. Remitly is useless. Well, why didn't you tell me before I went through? All right. We're experiencing the same rent and property prices rapidly rising here in Washington State. Well, at least in the U.S., you've got some actual reasons, like, the oil's been shut off and you're buying from Saudi Arabia again, so gas prices are going through the roof. We don't have that excuse here. I put gas in the tank and it was 8,400 pesos for the gallon. You guys figure out what that is, but I think it's half of what you're paying there. Of course, Colombia has its own refineries, but what I'm saying is we don't have inflation on gasoline. And we do have inflation on some things like eggs. It's crazy. I mean, eggs are probably up 50, 60% over the last year. And there's some things that have gone up, but other things have been pretty stable. Most things have been pretty stable. I used Remitly fairly recently, only passport needed. Well, that's all I needed, except everything I went through. Yes, the bank method took a number of days, but you actually got it. And I know they're in business to actually deliver, but for some reason, in my case, the only thing I could think of is I'm sending it from me to me. But there's nothing, that doesn't break any rules. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, wouldn't you think that's like more secure? I don't know. I have no idea what the problem is. Property prices rising during a pandemic is proof positive there's no pandemic. Well, I guess it's a pandemic. It's the severity that, I think we could argue about. And yes, I know people are at risk. I know people die, but the percentage of that is absurdly small. I mean, you'll have a zillion more people from car accidents or from bunions. So, I mean, it shouldn't be taken lightly. I mean, and I'm making a joke about it, but it shouldn't be, because people that are at risk are seriously at risk. So, I mean, take that into account. But remember that a lot of the preventions and even remedies that were scoffed at a couple years ago because it had the orange man attached to it, today are actually being promoted. And somebody came down here. I don't remember who it was, but because, I suck with names. But he was taking the chloroquine thing daily. And, it's cheap, it's over the counter, and he was taking it daily as a preventative thing. I don't think that's such a bad idea, particularly since the track record has been pretty awesome. And you've got a lot of people speaking out, even some of the official sources that you would see on CNN are now talking about a couple of the treatments. In the U.S. today, you must show government-issued ID, deposit cash into your bank account. Are you serious? Yeah, there have been rule changes that apparently we don't know about, which is not great. And somebody asked me, is it just Colombia? No, it's not. It's not a Colombian thing. It's probably driven primarily by the U.S. And they're doing all kinds of monetary crackdowns on individuals and not announcing it. I didn't know about it. I stay up on things. I had the same issue with Remitly. Yeah, it's just, yeah. Mike, were you in the U.S. when that happened? Were you in Colombia? I don't think it makes a difference, but I think the only thing I could think of is sending from myself to myself, even though I don't know why that would be an issue. Do you have a Bank Colombia account? No, I mentioned that already. I just transferred to World Remit, and it's always worked flawlessly. Yeah, I always use World Remit, and if I actually had the card, if I had lost the card and it wasn't compromised where they actually had to put a hold and cancel it, if I just lost it, then I could have transferred to World Remit, got it done, and then canceled or blocked the card. And it would have been safe. And that's what I did before. But now I actually, the only way I can get my money, because I have no card, is actually from my bank. And it's just, believe me, it's just problematic. I'm going to have an ulcer over it. I don't know what I'm going to do. I've been trying to put the pressure, the stress aside the best I can, but I know that this next week is if it doesn't happen, I don't know. It's major disaster. I guess I'll be living on the street. I wonder if the new rules at Colombia's... Okay, just talked about that. I'm hungry. I mentioned that Pareja, she's one of these people that eats like a bird, but does it 50 times a day. Keep snack on hand. If Alex is around the corner from Mokawa, then she should do well. I really hope so for her sake. I know she's been feeling the stress a little bit lately, because, all your money goes out, now you're waiting for it to come back. Once word goes out, she'll get busy. That's the hope. And the product was really good. I don't know. I didn't have it before. Now, some people here that I know, they said it was awesome. And like I said, all I'd had before was, it was like real cold leftover kind of state, which was edible. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was good. It just wasn't, oh my God, that was good. But when I got it the other day where it was pretty fresh, I just basically picked it up, came home in a taxi, came up and ate it. So 15 minutes, still hot, was still burning my fingers. And that was good. Have you tried Rhea and Via? I'd used Rhea a long time ago, and for some reason I stopped using them. I don't remember why, but that's why I ended up using World Remit for a bunch of years. The very first one I ever signed up with was RIA. And I don't know. I had some issues with it. I'll take a look at it again today, but I don't know. Well, here's where I was talking about that. I'm finally down to that in the chat. Congratulations, Groomy. Thank you. Maybe. Yeah, it's I got a pretty good feeling about her. I wouldn't mention it. Bill, thank you. Appreciate it. Doc, thank you. In other news, Orlando, Florida is asking residents to conserve water as it's needed for the massive surge in COVID cases. Okay. Christopher, great to hear. Can't wait to see her. Yeah, I will definitely be showing her. Hold on. Let me go back here. HD. Sorry, I missed that. It was a while ago. 38 minutes ago. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I guess that didn't show up on the other screen. I'm real good at deciding at the last minute I'm going to try something different. And so sometimes the setups fall in the cracks. Wait a minute, what do we have here? Okay, there was a long pause because there seems to be an issue with YouTube. I'm getting YouTube warnings. So I paused for a while because I'm guessing that either this video was buffering or something of the sort. I can tell you it's not my software. It's not on this end. It's YouTube. Maybe they heard me mention some unmentionable thing. Okay, you mentioned avoiding using an agent for rentals. I knew that was coming. I was a landlord and used an agent, and it worked well. This is a suggestion written in stone or can be used. An agent can be beneficial. Yeah, in general, the reason I said that is if you're coming here new and you're not aware of the market, you're just kind of oblivious, and you use an agent, there's a really good chance, I don't know, 90% chance, 80% high chance, you're going to massively overpay. You're going to have to put big deposits down. I've rented places, I've rented this place, no deposit, for example. A couple that I'll be looking at have half a month rent as a deposit. But you use an agent, you might be paying 3 months, up to 6 months rent as a deposit. Good luck getting that back, by the way. You can conjure up all kinds of reasons why. So that was the reason I'm telling people, avoid agents. Now, once you know individual people, you know their character, you know what's going on, or maybe you could say, hey, okay, I know you do such and such, but in my case, why don't you help me out here? Yeah, of course you can do that. There's a real estate guy here that I hook up with everybody that's moving here, and he's gotten awesome deals. He actually negotiates on your behalf, and some of the deals I mentioned before, so I don't have to list them here, but he's done some pretty amazing things. The one that still blows me away is a 1-year rental contract, and the guy didn't even have a cedula yet, didn't even have his visa yet, and somehow he finagled that. That's like there's no way that's going to happen, but it happened. So yeah, he's an agent, and I actually hook people up with him. But they're few and far between like that. So no, it's not written in stone. But buyer beware. And if you're new, you're probably better off looking for owners. There's lots of places that are owners take care of it themselves, and they're way more reasonable. Can I register my cell phone with a passport and without the cedula? Yes, yes, you can. Took me, but I had to remember it was a long time ago. Yes, you can. And what he's saying is when you come to Colombia with your cell phone, you have to register it. So you go to Claro or Movistar, you go to one of the phone companies, and it'll cost you, it's not a lot. Maybe it's like $6 to $8, something like that. And you register that particular phone in the Colombia database. If you don't, after, it can vary a little bit, but after about a month, your phone will lock up and you can't use it anymore in Colombia. So, yeah, you can do that. C. Burnell, good morning, Lauren. See you next month in Armenia. I think I sent you an email. Take a look and shoot me off an email to. Well, I don't want to get too sidetracked. Send me an email. Can you buy real estate in Colombia while still living in the U.S. and not a Colombian citizen as investment and or? Yes, you can. You know what I'm going to say. You should be here to at least be sure of what you're buying. Now, if you're talking about here in Armenia, I could probably try to help you best I can, or maybe ask Giovanni, hey, could you check this thing out? But that's an investment that you probably should, fly down here and take a look, or anywhere else in Colombia. I wouldn't put it in anybody else's hands. I wouldn't put it in my hands. It's not because I want to do you wrong, but nobody looks out for your interest or knows a lot of particulars about what you like or don't like, or what might be a warning sign that for other people they might not even notice. I'd hate to be in that situation, to be honest with you, to decide something for somebody. So jump on a plane, come down, choose it. Now, I've said for a long time that it's a bad idea to rent for 6 months or to buy for 6 months to a year. And it doesn't really change, but I do understand that if you're, too young for a retirement visa, but you've made up your mind you want to live here, and good decision, then an investment visa is almost the way you have to go. Now, an interesting thing came up. I was talking to Giovanni the other day, my real estate guy, and one way is because prices aren't all that high, even though I'm complaining and talking about it. $75,000, you look at it and say that's reasonable, except the market's $55,000. So that's an internal issue. But there's a couple categories of investment, and I'm not going to talk detail on that. But in one of the categories, if you fall into that category, your rental, or not your rental, but your investment could very well be higher than most of the places. So then what do? How do I do the investment visa unless I overpay for a place? Now, I think if you take the time, you can search out and you can find places where it'll be a financial benefit. But another danger of that is, okay, so you got it for the investment. It was worth it. But what if you decide you don't want to live there, you want to live somewhere else? You've been here a few years and say, I'd rather be over there. It's going to be held. You're going to lose money because you overpaid. And even if you don't, it can be difficult, just like anywhere. the market's not always out there to make it easy to, sell your property. So that's always a concern. But at least here in Colombia, you buy it, you own it. In Ecuador, maybe you own it, maybe you don't. Uh, so let's see, where we got here. So I guess the bottom line is, if you need an investment property, come down here, check things out, talk to some people, choose something that you'll be happy with, but make sure you have conversations with a couple people to know ups and downsides of certain areas or even buildings. Like there's a building, a high rise in the Castellania area, which is an awesome area. It's on my list. It's been on my list. I've done a bunch of videos, walkthroughs, but on this particular building, it picks up every noise in the world. And you go there, you check it out, you wouldn't really notice that, but once you start living there, it's like, oh my God, what have I done? I'll never get to sleep. They got a lot of windows, and it's just the location or the position of the building, whatever the reason. It's just kind of noisy. I mean, you could be on the 10th floor and you can hear the cars going by. It's just not good. And, so those are some of the dangers. You're still moving from 360. I'll be there soon. Yes, I talked quite a bit about it earlier in this video, so go back, watch the beginning. Doc, do you believe it's possible to rent annually a very nice studio apartment under a tourist visa? I can travel back and forth twice a year, no problem, half a year in Colombia. Yeah, you can. Probably not with almost all the real estate agents, but some of the things I've looked at, people are willing to do 6-month rentals as it is. Now, you may be talking about rent for the year, be in it for 6 months and have it empty for 6 months. And in that case, Alejandra, one of her side jobs is to go to people that are out of town twice a week to just check up on things, to dust and clean and, talk to the building owners, make sure everything's kosher, and then leave. So there's people that'll do that. And if you're coming here, it's all this stuff I'll help you with. I'm a wealth of information about, what's it take. So yeah, you could do it. 6 months of the year. Let's see. There's a drug called ivermectin that kills COVID. But yeah. Actually, ivermectin is one of those that are officially supported now. Yeah, that's one of them. I actually saw it in I don't remember which. It was a governmental agency, and it was in a press conference, and they were actually promoting it. It was doctors in a press conference promoting it. I was a bit in shock. Governments are working towards digital currency. Yes. Mark your words. I'm going to say something real quick here. The people, it's far-fetched. I've been mulling over this theory because I keep looking at some of these things that are happening that seem to be absolutely insane. On the other hand, imagine if for some reason we had, what was that movie where you had a guy who became president who was infiltrated? He was basically brainwashed. Can't remember. Famous movie, and I think it was even redone once. Well, imagine that you had people that could make real decisions in the United States, and they kept making all kinds of insane blunders that a 5-year-old wouldn't make. But if those decisions work to the benefit of China. Yeah, I know. It's tinfoil hat time, but you can only have so many insane decisions before you have to start looking for, there's got to be a reason to this. It can't just be senility. All right, so let's get off. I apologize. I'm sorry. I just been thinking about it. For contributions, where is PayPal I used before? On general contributions, it shows a credit card. Okay, the PayPal is on the link that's pinned at the top of this chat. That's the PayPal one. The one on the link in my website that you're talking about, under the contributions, that is actually Stripe. That's bank. That's, you're dealing directly with a bank. So that's the deal. I'm not a fan of PayPal, but I just had way too many people, asking me, because that's what they use. And then when I lost the ability, when YouTube, they're kind of cut my legs out from under me, then this was an option. So I said, okay. So I bit the bullet. I swore I'd never have another PayPal again, but I got another PayPal again. Red Golden Child, welcome back. Welcome back from London, England. If I'm only in Colombia for 6 months on a tourist visa, what's the best option for renting? Was thinking of renting Airbnb for a few weeks and then working with a host on a longer term deal. That's actually that's a pretty good way to go, and you can do that. My friend in Manizales, Mark, he's blind. I did some videos. He's pre-retirement, but he's blind. That's exactly. I went with him, showed him around Manizales, and helped him with that. So he got a place. It was kind of small, but he worked the deal. And then after that, once he was there, knew the lay of the land, then he got a bigger place. He actually, I think he's lived in 4 different places in the 3 years. So different things were happening, but. Yeah, all things pretty much are possible. You just need to know what and how and why. Mike Carroll, thank you. William, thank you. Really appreciate you guys. It's very generous of you. Okay, whoops, Doc already asked my question. Regarding my previous question, Groomy, buying real estate. Of course, I would visit. Yeah, okay. Likely a few times, and do research as well. Was just curious if you had to be a citizen or resident to buy. You don't have to be a citizen, and you don't have to be a resident, but to buy, you said tourist visa. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, you can do that. And yeah, you can buy property here if you're from another country. I didn't want to misspeak. There's always exceptions to things, but that one I can't think of an exception. Ah, that's it. Manchurian candidate. Exactly. Exactly. Thank you. It was bothering me. I couldn't think of the name of it. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. But recently, I don't know, you just kind of put a lot of connections together, and you just have to wonder what's, how deep it's infiltrated. Okay, I think we've run the course of the questions, so I'll give a last call on the questions. And do I have anything else here I want to cover? No, I think that's it. We're working on the last call. The YouTube warning went away. If you could tell me if you've been on here for the whole show or at least the last half, did you have buffering? Was the video interrupted for a short period of time? I'm curious to know if you were affected by the warning message that came up that basically was telling me for about 2 minutes or maybe a minute that it was buffering in YouTube. No tinfoil hat needed. Yeah. You know, it's kind of fallen into those strange but true categories. It's like, if no other answer fits, go with the obvious. I don't know. Yes, buffering. Okay, so that was a valid warning I got. Couple for a few seconds. Oh, well, okay. Well, I'm glad it was short. It looked like it was maybe a minute or so, but um, not affected. A little buffering. All right. 10, 15 seconds. All right. Well, that's good to know. I was, yeah, I almost shut it off because, you know, if it's just not going out, what's the point in me sitting here talking to nobody? And because that's happened a few times in the past. And it's not the internet because I'm running on 300 megas with the fiber optic I've had put in, which is another thing. I had to make sure that fiber optic's available. So, you know, that's fiber optic of this speed, this high speed. It's a different system, and it's relatively new in Armenia. And I've had some fast, like in Provenza, was pretty good, but I don't really want to give this up, so I want to try to make sure I'm in. The nice thing is their priorities are the areas that, you know, I tend to want to live. All is good. No buffering once. Came through perfect on my end. Really? So you didn't even get the buffering? Well, that's, you know, I guess I shouldn't be surprised because if it's coming, you know, well, sometimes I set myself up to go on a 5-minute rant. People in chat usually let you know if there are issues. Yeah, well, you know, that was the thing. It's like chat wasn't happening for a period of time also. And so I'm thinking, well, if it went dead, then the chat's not going to happen either. so that was actually making me sure that, you know, it had died off. Okay. Well, it looks like we're at the end of the road here. Don't have any more questions. A lot of really good questions today. I want to thank you guys. I think that's what keeps it interesting for the later portion of the show. Pierre, hello from Atlanta. Howdy. You know, I think this coffee time can be pretty interesting. Certainly can be informative. Plus, it's good that it's a back and forth. You can chime in, you chat with each other. It's a pretty good resource, and so you guys in chat, you know, make this valuable to people. So I want to thank you for that. Okay, thanks for the contributions. Thanks for being here. I'm feeling awesome, by the way. Feeling great. During YouTube warning for me, your chat feature went off, but the video was not affected for me. Okay, actually, those are a few clues that tell me, and it's definitely not here. All right, we're going to end it here. Thank you, guys. If anybody thinks of some magic cure of how I can get money from my bank to me, please send me an email. Especially with a new woman in the picture. Yeah, well, you know, it certainly has cheered me up. But I actually started feeling, I was sick, and I knew her. I just went through a spell. It's complicated. I'm not a sickly person, but outside, I have this medication that I have to take every single day, and it has side effects. I've been taking it for 6 years. And sometimes in a month, I might be sick for a day or two with a fever, no energy. And sometimes it'll hit me hard and it'll go for a period of time. This last time, it hit me really hard. And there's no alternative. There's no option to it. If I don't take it, then I'm really putting myself at risk. So, you know, there's nothing I can do about it. My health in general, I mean, aside from that, if I didn't have to take that, I'm actually a pretty healthy person, but that's just, it's constant. And that's why you see me, you know, low energy because it kills my metabolism. And, you know, so there you go. Personal information. And let's end it on that note. Thank you guys. Hopefully see you next Sunday. I'll put a message out if it gets interrupted. And that's what the weather's like today. Blue skies, tons of overcast. Weather's awesome. It's 72 degrees, I think. Okay. Ciao.